It's time for Next Step Monday as we look back on this past Sunday's sermon and jumpstart our week with a few thoughts. Here's Pastor Dave Pack.
It's good to be with you, Fremont family. On this Next Step Mondays, we look back to Mark 15:40 through 16:8. This is our final message in the Gospel of Mark. So exciting. Our big idea was this: Jesus really died. Jesus was really buried. Jesus really rose from the dead. Now, the scene starts off with these names of these women. Now, Mark is a person of brevity, so the fact that we get 3 times the names of these women is very important. And what Mark is doing is establishing there are eyewitnesses to everything going on here. Now, here's the beauty of what's going on. By putting these women as being eyewitnesses, what we see is anyone making this up would never put the women there as the first eyewitnesses to the crux of Christianity. You see, back in the time, in both from a Jewish and Roman culture, women were treated as second-class citizens, and their testimony was inadmissible in a court of law. So there's only one explanation for the fact that they are eyewitnesses to the death, burial, and resurrection, and that is because it happened. Second, we're introduced to Joseph of Arimathea. We're told that he was elsewhere a secret disciple of Jesus. He was part of the Sanhedrin, the group that condemned Jesus. But now we're told he gets this courage to go to Pilate and ask for Jesus' body. Boy, ironically, him and Pilate, at one point, they're not all that different. They're both men of high standing who were unsure about Jesus. They wanted to put off making a final decision about Jesus, but what we learn with them, you cannot put off a decision about Jesus forever. As one author put it, at some point, everyone must burn their boats and cross their bridges. Sadly, Pilate keeps putting it off, and his fate is sealed. But Joseph so beautifully risks everything in order to procure Jesus' body and give him a burial. And then finally, we're introduced back again to the women and the empty tomb. So these women come to a graveyard expecting to find death, but it's as if they come to a garden and find life. What I so much appreciate about this part of the passage is it's so real to what faith is often like. They're scared. They're petrified. The angel tells them, "Hey, go and tell the disciples about this," and they don't. Isn't that ironic? Early on in Jesus' ministry, Jesus commands people be silent, and they go and tell everyone about him. Here, they're commanded to tell everyone, and they're silent. And often this is a picture of faith. Maybe sometimes we have this picturesque view of faith that says, okay, in order to have real faith, I can't feel fear. I can't have unbelief. I've just got to have perfect faith. And yet what we see here is that sometimes faith comes in the middle of feeling fear, but not acting on it. Faith is not the absence of fear. It's the absence of acting on fear. Faith is not giving fear the final word. And so the gospel ends, I think on purpose, abruptly to ask us the question, what kind of witnesses will we be for Jesus? When we feel fear, will we still go out and proclaim the truth of who he is? And so I will just let that be our question to ponder this week. I'll be praying with you, and I give God so much thanks for the journey he's given us through the Gospel of Mark.